Hi everyone, I'm Dan Kaplan, Executive Editor of SC Magazine, and welcome to In Focus. Today I am here with Yorgen Edholm, who is the CEO of Accellion. Yorgen, thanks for joining us today.
It's a pleasure.
Yorgen, you're a Silicon Valley veteran. You've been around 20 plus years doing this sort of stuff. You've seen data proliferating across systems, across networks, across endpoints. Are companies realizing how important it is to know where that data is and to be securing it?
Well, they should, but they don't. And what's happening right now is that we are probably seeing the biggest change in enterprise infrastructure, and it's driven by consumers. So everybody who gets that new iPhone or iPad and wants to take it to work and hook it up with the network, and they're seeing the execs with their iPads. So if they can use their iPads, I should be able to use my iPad. What people don't realize is that what you have and what you don't have on that iPad can really expose your company. And we are seeing that all across, and most companies aren't even aware of what can happen.
So we're talking about mobility here. Employees want to bring in their smartphones, their tablets into the organization. They want to connect to the corporate network. They want to share corporate data via those devices. They want to make edits. They want to create content. But that stuff needs to be protected. So how do you go about doing that?
Well, it's actually quite hard. But the fascinating thing is that most people, they don't even, it's one of those things that sometimes, you say, I shouldn't have asked, because when you ask and you get the answer, then you feel bad about yourself. It seems as if most people are taking that approach to it. We have started to scratch the surface, and right now, most of the concerned companies are saying, if you bring your own device, the only way to be secure about it is to say that you can use that device to look at things that are stored somewhere else, but you can't really store it on your device. And if you can store it, by God, you must not be able to edit. And the reason for that is that the editing tools are leaky. If you open up a document on the iPhone with kind of a standard editor, that editor will probably store that document somewhere else in the cloud just to keep track of it and so that you can get it from somewhere else. Well, guess what? Now that document is out in the cloud and you have no idea where it's going.
Have organizations, some of them at least, outright banned file sharing due to some of the possible weaknesses involved?
Yes, some have, but many more have come to companies like Accellion and said, we have a problem. We feel we have to ban it, but we can't ban it because it has become a vital function. We have 5,000 iPads, and this is how people get data to it or from it. So then when we show them what we have, they say, wow, and we can control it. Well, now they can ban Dropbox, but they can't ban it without creating a void. And users are brilliant at filling voids.
Yeah. Are we talking about majorly sensitive data that's being shared?
It could be. But, from a HIPAA perspective, absolutely everything about a patient it's up for the patient to disclose to others. It's not for the hospital to do. And when it comes to corporate, financial numbers, or maybe even, legalese and other things, there are so many things where, I've even read security audits where somebody was sharing something. Most of the time, this is a good person who's trying. He opened up the spreadsheet. It was really wide. It had 100 columns. He looked at the first 10, and it has good information in it. Well, the social security number was column number 77. He didn't think it was in there. He sent the spreadsheet, and now suddenly he has exposed 1,000 social security numbers.
Sure. So you have a lot of examples where the employee is trying to do the right thing.
Yes.
They're trying to do their work outside of maybe normal business hours, and then they make a mistake.
Yeah.
It goes out.
And by the way, most of these mistakes happen at normal business hours.
Yeah.
It's just that, people, there's so much information out there. People can't know everything. And then, something has happened. The company just decided that we're going to do kind of a new deal with somebody. Now suddenly that becomes very secret, because if you talk about it, you're leaking information to Wall Street and other things. It happens all the time, and nobody can keep up with it.
Yeah. Yorgen, when we're talking about one of your customers who may have a trusted relationship with another organization, they deal a lot, they exchange a lot of data. If there's a vulnerability within that partner's security stance, that could lead to a breach within the systems at your customer as well.
Yeah, you can really think of everything as being airtight. If there's any leak anywhere, you're not airtight anymore. And from a system perspective, we have special challenges when you are working with people outside your company. Say, either you're a law firm or I'm another company working with a law firm, or maybe a marketing consultant or something like that. That there are lots of things you can do when you have control. So say, I own this device, and I'm going to put a mobile device management thing on it. And if anything goes wrong, you lose this thing, I can wipe it. Well, that sounds good, but what if that device is at the lawyer's office? I can't put my software on at least not my mobile device management software, and wipe his phone when something bad happened or when he loses it. So what we have had to do in our software is to make lightweight versions of all that, so that if you have Accellion and you download an Accellion client to work on, you're now the lawyer, and he's getting data from big company, and he's going to work on it, that the Accellion software, based on his profile, decides if he can just look at things or if he can edit things, and everything is encrypted, so even if he loses the phone, no one can really get to it unless you do a tremendous amount of hard work. And all that is new. Those mobile devices are becoming more and more capable. There are some companies that say they should replace paper. You have a computer, and then for all those stacks of, like board materials and sales reports, you get them on your iPad. And other people say, no. Many of the doctors, they want to have their medical application, absolutely everything they had on a laptop, who's too heavy. They like the form factor. They want to be able to do everything from the iPad. And the iPad applications today, they were designed for consumers. They were designed for people who wanted to have fun with it. And kind of the enterprise aspect is being, we are catching up with it.
Yeah, so let me have you look into the crystal ball. Mobility is just, it's a meteoric rise in the amount of these endpoints, these tablets, these smartphones we're seeing within organizations. What can we expect going forward, and are organizations going to be able to handle it?
We'll be able to handle it, but we're going to have to work really hard. I remember, Apple's market share and how many, if Apple could sell 1 million computers, the Apple fans, would celebrate, 10 years ago. Apple expects to sell 66 million iPads this year, which, dwarfs anything they ever did in the old space. And those iPads are going into the boardrooms, going into the executive suites, and then down into companies. And it's a foreign device, and people have to get up to speed really, really fast. But it can be done. So I think that as we become more mobile, and you have your phone, you walk around, it tells you there's a good restaurant, here's a friend. All those things are happening. And you can get that, and you can get traditional enterprise applications and synergies between them when you go mobile. And I'm absolutely convinced that that's the next frontier.
Yeah, and there's a lot of security and management components to it. Secure file transfer is certainly a big one.
Well, at the same time that everybody wants to have data at their fingertips, they also want certain data to be protected. And there's going to be a whole new class of applications that make sure that that works, but it also is transparent, so that people can get on with their lives without worrying too much about it.
Yorgen Edholm, the CEO of Accellion, I want to thank you for going in focus with us today.
It was a pleasure.